Hi, I'm James Glass, and I want to talk to you today about James Hardie siding. Specifically, I want to talk to you about what to do when you have a butt joint in a course of siding on an exterior wall in a house. So, James Hardie siding is this product. It's a cement-based product. James Hardie is the manufacturer. It's 3/8 of an inch thick. This particular siding is 8 3/4 high. I generally run it with 1 1/4 to, which is the minimum James Hardie spec, to 1.5 inch overlap. So that means the subsequent course of siding overlaps at least 1 1/4 inch. In this case, I'm overlapping 1.5 inch. And every single course as you go up simply gets that overlap, and that's great. But occasionally, you'll have to put on one course one piece of siding next to another piece. It's extremely important to flash that joint. Typically in this area no one does this, but this piece of flashing costs literally pennies, and it's held in place by one nail, one roofing nail. And so the cost to flash the joint is just nothing. The joint will still be caulked, and it will be sealed, and it will be painted, but in the event that that caulk is compromised, this prevents water from penetrating behind the siding and getting stuck between the house wrap and the siding. Here in Southwest Virginia we have really, vertical rain. We never see horizontal rain like they do in some coastal communities. We get 36 to 40 inches of rain every year, and we hardly ever get really serious rain events. But nonetheless, it takes virtually no time to just go ahead and flash your butt joints. So, let me show you how this is done. Okay, so what we have here is a course of siding that's terminated before it gets over to our window. So I've got about a 28, 29 inch piece of siding that has to fill in this course. I've inserted this piece of aluminum flashing just so it overlaps the course below, and so that when the next piece of siding goes in the event that water penetrated beyond the sealant, the caulk, it will go directly to this and then shed out over this course and down. In this particular case, there is house wrap present, but there is not an air gap between the siding and the structure. Right below this is, in fact, the sheeting. While that does meet minimum acceptable standards, ideally, what would even be better than this is to apply an air gap and a moisture gap between the house and the siding. And I'll talk about that in other videos on my YouTube channel, but here, just so you know, flash all your joints. It's extremely important. Okay, so with that flashing in place, which you can, if you need to, hold down with the roofing nail, in this case, to minimize the number of penetrations into the house wrap, I did not install that with a roofing nail. I installed the piece of siding on the right side of that course, and then I tucked in the piece of flashing, no nail required. But if you wind up having to put one nail in the flashing above the siding, that's fine. Here's my pre-cut piece of James Hardie. Loctite exterior power grab. I blind nail, which is to say all of my nails go in above the lap, so there are no exposed nails. So I'll put a couple dabs of power grab on the bottom of each course to allow the siding to bite and grab onto. I made sure that none of the power grab was on the flashing. I want that flashing to be able to shed any water that gets behind the butt joint out onto that lower course of James Hardie siding. I'm using a hot dip galvanized ring shank nail that goes into the 3/4 inch sheeting that's behind this. And I'm nailing in a predetermined strip on the James Hardie siding. So here's the finished joint, and it is flashed with aluminum flashing behind it, and this will be caulked so it's weather tight, and all the rest of the siding will be painted afterwards. And that's the proper way to flash behind siding when you have butt joints.